2,000 years ago, Demon King Anos sacrificing himself end conflict humans and demons. Agrees leader he kills him to turn his power into a wall separating human and demon worlds. Before he dies, he casts a spell letting him return to life after 2,000 years. Demon King Anos awakens as an infant and sees his new father and mother happy with him. After some time, Anos is on his way to the Demon Academy, and during his way he notices a girl named Misha going to apply with him in the academy, so Anos walks with her to go to the exams, and on their way they meet a guy bullying them, but they completely ignore him and do not reply to him, so the boy shouts at them. So Anos looks at him and tells him, "Sorry, I did not notice you, because your magical power is very weak." So the boy gets very angry and brings out magical fire, but very easily Anos blows on the fire and extinguishes it, so the boy gets angrier and decides to attack him. So Anos uses one of his spells on him, and makes him burn with his own fire inside his body, and leaves him and walks away. Then Anos goes to prepare for the practical exam, in which he will face another student applying to the academy, and he enters the arena and waits for the opponent in front of him. And the surprise is that his opponent is the same boy who was bullying him, and he tells him, "We met again, and you will not be able to escape from me." So Anos laughs in his face, and says the spell that paralyzes the body, but this time it does not affect the boy, because he is wearing anti-magic armor, and the fight begins and the boy pulls out his fire sword, and the boy rushes at him angrily to strike him, but Anos blows air from his mouth and extinguishes the flames, and suddenly he finds the boy body being destroyed from inside, and he looks at his hand and body covered in blood, and hears heartbeats, and his body keeps exploding from inside, and he falls to the ground unable to move, and Anos kicks him with his leg, and Anos uses a strange skill from his hand. He can throw his body far away and destroy it, and he uses the restoration spell to return the boy body intact like before, and does the same skill again and cuts him into pieces, and heals his body and returns it like before, until the boy surrenders. After that, Anos goes to measure his magical power, and as soon as he reaches the crystal to see his level, the crystal suddenly explodes, and that is because of his overwhelming magical power. Then he goes with Misha to the knowledge test, and in this exam they will know how much information about the Demon King, and they ask them some questions and Anos is able to answer all of them, and after he finishes the exams, he prepares to return to his home again, but he finds Misha standing outside the academy waiting for him, and Anos suggests to her that she comes with him to his house so they celebrate together. And as soon as Anos enters the house, his mother hugs him tightly while she is happy, and tells him, "Who would believe that after 1 month from your birth, you will be accepted in the Demon Academy." After that they sit and have dinner and talk with Misha a little, and how she met Anos, and after the invitation ends, Anos goes out with Misha to take her to her house, and while they are walking, suddenly a battle arena appears around them, and the boy that Anos was fighting appears with his older brother, and tells him, "I brought you my brother, and he is much stronger than you." But suddenly his brother grabs him from his shirt, and tells him, "You dare to talk while you lost. There is no place in our family for anyone weak." And his brother releases big electricity and shocks him with it, until he falls like a burned corpse. And he orders the soldiers with him to start using their magic against Anos. So Anos uses magic while standing in his place without moving, and he is able to make the soldiers, including the boy brother, unable to control their magic circles, until they explode on them. But still the boy brother does not surrender, and gets up and tries to use his magic again, and throws it at Anos and thinks that he already defeated him, but he quickly gets shocked when he sees him still alive, and Anos goes to the boy lying on the ground, and turns him into a zombie, and makes them both attack each other, and he leaves. And on the next day Anos enters his class, and introduces himself to the students as the Demon King, but of course no one cares about him. So Anos goes and sits next to Misha, and asks her, "Why are all the students looking at me like that?" So she replies to him, "Because of the class discrimination between the students in our academy, you are a hybrid. You can never be the Demon King." So Anos asks her, "What does that mean?" So she tells him no one can be the Demon King except his descendants whose blood is pure only, and they are currently the nobles, but if a normal person like you, then he has no chance. So Anos gets a bit surprised, and tells her, "Did the Demon King himself make this system or what?" So she replies to him, "Yes, but no one can say his name." So Anos puts his hand on her head and tells her, "Just think about it," and he is able to read her thoughts, and knows that the Demon King name that people recognize is Avos. So he gets surprised and tells her, "It should be me." That means that during 2,000 years, the Demon King name changed, and asks her, "What else do you know about him?" So she replies to him, "He sacrificed his life for peace," and before she completes her words, she suddenly goes silent when a girl enters the class suddenly and passes beside them. So Anos looks at the girl and wonders about her, but he does not care. After a while the teacher Amelia enters, and tells them I will divide you into teams first, whoever wants to be a leader nominate himself, but first he must perform this spell and master it first. So some students raise their hands including Anos, so the teacher looks at him, and tells him unfortunately you are wearing the white uniform, and that means you are a hybrid, and not pure blood like the nobles. So Anos stands up, and tells her I will prove to you that hybrids are not less than pure bloods. So Anos goes and tells her this spell has a mistake, so she replies to him impossible, for 2,000 years this spell was not altered. So Anos moves his finger on it and fixes it, and he is able to return it to its original form again, and tells her what do you think of me now, so the teacher gets shocked from him, and lets him nominate himself among the students, and the girl who passed beside Anos and Misha stands up, and says I am Sasha, granddaughter of one of the 7 great demon emperors. So when Anos hears her words he gets surprised, and asks Misha about her, so she replies to him Sasha is my older sister, we have the same father. So Anos tells her you are supposed to be pure blood too. Why are you wearing the white uniform? So she replies to him because our family decided that, and it is clear dear viewer that there is a story between those 2 sisters. And after that the students stand at each leader, but there is only Misha with Anos in the team, so Sasha goes to them and tells him, and mocks Misha, because she is a hybrid, but Anos tells her mind your business and leave from here. So Sasha looks at him and uses her eyes of destruction, and destroys the walls behind him, but she quickly gets shocked when those eyes do not affect him. So Anos stands and stares at her with his eyes of destruction as well, and threatens her with them. So Sasha gets scared of him, and leaves him. At the end of the school day Anos and Misha walk together to go, but they meet Sasha on their way standing waiting for them, and tells him come let us fight between my team and your team. And if you win we will join your team, but if you lose you will be my servant, and you will obey all my orders without exception. After a week Sasha team and Anos team meet, and the competition between them begins, and whoever wins is the one who will destroy the other castle. So Anos orders Misha to build their castle, and he will attack them from the front. So Misha actually makes 3 castles in their land, but 2 of them are fake to deceive them, so Sasha tries to send a scouting unit there, but she quickly gets shocked when she finds Anos coming to them, and he is hearing their words and responding to them as well, while they are inside their castle, and tells them your interference magic is weak, and he extends his hand to penetrate the barrier around the castle, and he is able to destroy it indeed, and lifts the whole castle and throws it up, and spins it on his finger and throws it far away. So Sasha stands while she is affected by her injuries, and tells them we must use the Geese spell. This is our last attempt, so the team members all stand, and start performing the spell. So Anos says unfortunately a girl like this is our enemy, no one can learn this spell, except after learning the most precise magic techniques, and within 1 week of gathering her team she was able to do it. And after Sasha team finishes the spell, they launch it at Anos with all their power. So Anos uses the weakest fire spell he has and throws it at them, and he is able to repel their attack, and also his shot continues towards them. So Sasha tries to make many barriers to stop it, but it penetrates all of them, and hits them and destroys their castle, and Anos and Misha win the battle in the end. And he goes to Sasha and tells her I used the weakest spell available, so Sasha looks at him while she is shocked, and falls to the ground not believing herself. So Anos tells her we have an agreement, now you will be in my team. Then Anos returns to his house with Sasha and Misha, and his mother welcomes him, and is happy that he won his battle today, and prepares food for them and they sit and eat together, and enjoy their time with Anos' family. At night Anos goes with Sasha and Misha to take them to their house, and while they are walking, Anos is happy that he reunited Sasha and Misha, and after they reach the house, Sasha waits until Misha enters the house because she wants to talk with Anos, and Sasha thanks him, and tells him thanks to you I was able to talk with Misha again. And on the next day, the teacher is standing in front of the students in the class, and tells them one of the 7 legendary demons will give you a lesson about great magic, and he is the demon Ivis Nikran. So Anos gets surprised when he hears her words, so Sasha tells him is it possible you do not know who they are? 2,000 years ago, the demon king used his blood to create 7 followers for him, and this academy was founded by them, and they are the academy directors now. So when Anos hears this he gets very surprised, and says how are they from the mythical era, and at the same time they could not recognize me, and Ivis enters to them, but suddenly Anos stands from his place and greets him, and tells him I have not seen you for a long time, so the teacher gets shocked and apologizes to Ivis for Anos' rudeness, but Ivis looks at him and tells him have I seen you before? So Anos replies to him that was 2,000 years ago, do you not remember me? So Ivis tells him unfortunately I lost all my memories, so Anos puts his hand on him and tells him I will make you remember everything, and after Anos finishes the spell, Ivis asks him who exactly are you, so he replies to him I will tell you after the class. So Ivis starts his lesson, and after he finishes, he talks with Anos outside the class, and tells him who exactly are you, so he replies to him I am the Demon King Anos, probably someone altered my name over all those years, I do not know who did that, so Ivis tells him I will not ignore your words especially that you have extraordinary abilities, but I also will not rule out that you might be a rebel against the Demon King, and then he leaves him and walks away. Then Anos and his friends go with the teacher Amelia to the Demon King castle, and she tells them today we have a test in this castle. Each team must collect points by gathering magical items and weapons and armors, and anything you bring will belong to the team leader, and the teacher gives the signal to start the test, so all the contestants run quickly to catch anything, but Anos stays in his place and does not move. So Sasha tells him come on quickly there is no time, so he replies to her if we can get the Demon King scepter in the lower floor we will win easily, so she replies to him that is impossible, even the teachers could not reach that floor at all, so he tells her do not worry and I know its place, do not forget it is my castle in the end. Then they go down the castle, and while they are walking, Anos tells Misha about Sasha's birthday which is tomorrow. You can choose for her something from the treasure room in the room that has the scepter, and you can choose something for yourself too since your birthday is with her. Then they reach a secret corridor. I designed this corridor carefully, and he breaks it very easily, and they continue their way, until they enter the room and go to the scepter, and Sasha is very amazed by it and by its beauty, so Anos takes advantage that Sasha is not paying attention to them, and takes Misha and goes to the room that has the treasure, and as soon as Misha enters inside, she is amazed by the beauty of the things present, so Anos tells her choose anything that suits Sasha, so Misha looks at the things carefully, and chooses a red robe for her, and notices a very beautiful shining ring, so Anos tells her this is the ice ring. Then they go back to Sasha again, and Misha goes to her and gives her the robe as a gift for her, and Anos enters the treasure room, while they are standing, and after a while, Anos comes out from there, and when he opens the door, suddenly he sees Sasha stabbing Misha with a knife in her chest, so he asks her why did you do that, so she replies to him you were very foolish, I deceived both of you, all this was an act from me to take the first place in this test, did you really believe that I could befriend a doll like Misha? So he tells her your plan is genius, but your execution is very bad, and besides that, even if you take the scepter with you it will be in my name, because the teacher said anything will belong to the leader. So Sasha cancels the contract between them, and thus she will separate from the whole team, and tells him if you do not do anything this girl will die, so he tells her you seem afraid for her, and do not want her to die, so Sasha looks at him and laughs very much, and tells him I certainly will not be afraid for a cheap doll like this. So Anos tells her do you think I will let you escape this easily? So Sasha activates her spell on Misha, through which she can stab the knife deeper into her body, and tells him in order to save her you will take at least 10 seconds, and that time will be enough for me to escape immediately. And as soon as Sasha moves to escape, Anos grabs her from her hand, and he is able to break her spell, and also heal Misha in a blink of an eye, so Sasha gets shocked and tells him how, so he tells her I healed Misha at the moment I saw her in the first place. So Sasha looks at him and gets very angry and activates her eye on him. But Anos is not affected and in return paralyzes her body. So Misha goes to him and asks Anos to release Sasha. So Anos listens to her words and leaves her, because he feels that there is something wrong between them both, so Sasha takes the scepter and runs quickly. So Anos asks Misha I want to know what is happening now, so she tells him I am supposed to disappear tomorrow on my birthday. Misha does not exist in this world at all. When Sasha was young someone cast a spell on her, and made another copy of her which is me, and on my next birthday which is tomorrow, I am supposed to disappear from the world. I knew my fate very well, and I only wanted to build memories, but no demon acknowledged my existence, until you came and talked to me and we became friends, and that is the reason Sasha did not like me from the beginning, even though I loved her all the time, and my wish was to be close to her. So Anos tells her do not worry, I will make your wish come true, and they go quickly to Sasha to catch her, so Sasha tells them what do you think we make a final challenge? I will draw a magic circle here, and if I lose I will answer your question, but if you activate it you will follow my orders. And Sasha starts making the circle, and after a long time she is able to draw them, but she fails and loses the bet, so Anos tells her why are you doing all this, and why do you hate Misha this much? So she tells him actually I do not hate her, I love her from the depths of my heart. I was able to find a way to make her not disappear from the world, but to activate it I must make her hate me. That is why I was trying to make you hate me by any way. And Sasha falls to the ground because she failed, and shouts at Misha and tells her, after all the things I did to you, you still love me. Please try to hate me, otherwise I will not be able to save you. So Misha replies to her, do not worry, I will become a part of you, and I will stay beside you all the time. And Misha looks at Anos and tells him thank you because I got closer to Sasha. So Sasha tells him, while she is shouting, you are the Demon King, you surely have something to make me disappear instead of her. So he tells them, I will save you both, I will go back in time, and I will prevent the original spell from the beginning. But suddenly someone named Ivis appears from nowhere, and inserts his sword into Anos, and tells him, let me tell you something before you die. Those two sisters will become assistants of the real Demon King when he awakens, and suddenly Anos uses a fire spell and throws Ivis away, and replies to him, I knew you were coming. Do you think that when you put the sword in my heart I will die? And Anos pulls the sword from his body and throws it at him. Then he uses one of his spells and goes back to the past, but suddenly the Guardian of Time appears, so Anos tells him, I hope you stay away from us. I came back to save only one demon. So he replies to him, you will be punished because you tampered with time. And the Guardian heals Ivis and orders him to destroy Anos. So Anos throws a very powerful spell at him, but Ivis stops time and is able to dodge it easily and attacks him with his swords. But Anos makes a defensive barrier and blocks his strikes, so Ivis tries to break the barrier, until in the end he rushes at him and stabs him with the sword, and tells him, do you think you can protect those two girls? I have now killed you, and you will disappear immediately. So Ivis laughs because he thinks he killed Anos, but he quickly gets shocked when he sees Anos again putting his hand on him, so he runs quickly away from him, and activates a spell that can stop time. So he does not let Anos move, but Anos goes to him and tells him, do you think you can stop me when you stop time? And Anos activates his spell, and is able to separate Sasha essence from Misha, and he pulls out his legendary sword, so Ivis looks at him and gets shocked by the power of the sword he has, and Anos rushes at him and stabs the sword into his face, and is able to blow up his body. After a while Anos returns his body as it was, and tells him, my destruction sword was able to kill the essence that was controlling you. So Ivis replies to him, please forgive me. My memories are still lost and I do not know what happened. It seems that someone killed me and took over my body. So Anos approaches him and returns to him his memories that he lost, and tells him most likely the one who did that is someone working under Avos. I will make him think that you died forever, but I want you to find out who this Avos is. After that Anos goes to Sasha and Misha, and tells them, you have now become two separate persons. Come on, let us go back to give the teacher the scepter and take the full mark. But before they leave, Anos gives Misha the ice ring that she liked, as a gift for her birthday, so Misha becomes happy and thanks him very much. And on the next day, Anos goes to the Demon Academy, and the teacher Emilia enters the class, and tells them, first there is a new student who will join us, and he was in the mythical generation. As for the scepter that Anos brought, it seems that an unknown group stole it before we evaluated it. So Anos' team will take 70% of the grades temporarily, so Sasha gets very angry and objects to her, and tells her this is supposed to be the academy responsibility. Why do we not take the full grade? But the teacher replies to her with cold responses, so Sasha gets provoked and angrier. But suddenly one of the students wearing the white uniform stands up, and her name is Misha, and objects to the teacher as well, and says, would Anos be treated like this if he was from the nobles? So the teacher tells her, if you do not sit down now I will punish you. So Anos tells them all we have to do is find the culprit, and he goes to one of the noble students, and uses a strange spell, and pulls the scepter from him, and gives it to the teacher and tells her in her ear, next time make him steal the scepter better than this. After the class ends, the girl who defended Anos in front of the teacher goes to him, and tells him, as you know, the city is under the rule of pure blood people, while any hybrid is oppressed everywhere, so we are trying to call for equality between demons. Can you come visit our headquarters? We there believe that you are the real Demon King. Our path is still long, but we have many supporters, like the Emperor Meles. After that Misha takes him, and goes to the headquarters of the group she made, and as soon as they enter there, the girls' friends of Misha are happy that Anos himself visited them, and Misha takes him again to a strange room. There is a sword in the middle of it, and tells him, as you know I am not a full demon, my father is a demon but my mother is a spirit. My mother died shortly after my birth, and I have never seen my father even once, because he is from the nobles, and the only thing my father left for me is this incomplete sword. I am sure that the other half is with him. Then they go to the training ground to train on swords, and all they have to do is pull the swords from the ground. So Sasha tries to pull it but she cannot at all, and suddenly 2 of the 7 demons appear, and they are the ones responsible for training the students today, and say the magical swords tournament will start soon. If you want to participate you must pull a sword from the ground. Meanwhile Anos tells Sasha there is only one sword I could not hold. It was the hero sword in the mythical era, and suddenly Anos is able to pull his sword while he is standing far away, and at the same time another student is able to pull his sword from the ground, and he is the transfer student Ray. So one of the 7 demons tells him show us your skill with the sword instead of introducing yourself, but Ray refuses. So the demon rushes at him to hit him, but suddenly Ray comes from behind him and hits him from his back and knocks him to the ground, and tells him it is insulting that I defeat a demon like you. So Anos goes to the other demon and hits him, and tells him your skill with the sword is amazing. After that they go back to the class again, and Ray goes to Anos and offers himself to join his team, but Anos refuses, and tells him you must prove that you are worthy to join my team, and calls Misha and her friends, and tells her you and your friends join Ray team, and if you defeat me I will allow all of you to join my team. So Ray agrees to his proposal. On the next day Anos team and Ray team prepare for the competition, so Anos tells Sasha and Misha I will handle Ray and you handle the rest. So Misha makes an ice castle, and they tell each other the plan, and after that Anos goes to Ray to face him. So Anos asks him where did you get that sword from, so he replies I took Misha magical sword, and in return I gave them my magical power. I actually do not know how to use magic, and since I do not use it I have extra power. Suddenly Ray team builds a giant moving castle, and it is also holding a sword like it is a living being. So Anos tells him you really gave them your magical power, but this will ruin the battle between us, so I will face you with this tree branch. So Ray rushes at him and tries to hit him, but Anos blocks the strike, and he calls Sasha and tells her combine your power with Misha and use the legendary spell. So she replies impossible, our magic will not be enough, but Misha calls her, and tells her we can activate it, and she starts saying the spell words, and Sasha prepares as well, and they launch the spell at them, and both of them are able to affect Ray Team Castle strongly, but suddenly Misha comes from behind Sasha and is able to hit her, so Sasha stands up from the ground, and summons her robe, and suddenly Ray Team Castle comes to hit Sasha, but quickly Misha comes to help her, and stands behind her and they both prepare to fight, and both of them use the Necron's secret technique, and both of them destroy the castle and throw Misha away. Suddenly several explosions happen around them, because of the intensity of the fight between Anos and Ray, so Sasha calls Anos and tells him what are you doing, you will destroy the forest we are in, so he replies do not worry I will be able to restore the forest again as it was. So Ray rushes at him, but Anos blocks his attack, and they clash together and a very huge explosion happens, and they both keep attacking each other, until in the end Anos is able to defeat Ray. So Ray tells him I felt during our fight that this is not the first time I see you. So he replies to him maybe we met 2,000 years ago, I know someone exactly like you, and Anos shakes his hand and helps him stand up from the ground. After that Anos takes them and they go to his house, to invite them for dinner at his place, and Misha and Ray are sitting outside the house alone, and Misha thanks him and tells him because of you I was able to join Anos' team. On the next day the teacher Amelia stands in front of the class, and tells them the Magical Swords tournament is about to start, and some students from this class have been nominated, and they are Ray and Anos. After the class ends, Ray tells Anos I did not expect that we would meet again this quickly, but Ray feels that Anos is not happy, so he asks him what is wrong, what happened. So Anos replies the last thing the nobles would wish is that a hybrid like me wins this tournament, so why would they nominate someone like me? There must be hidden motives in this matter. And while they are talking, Misha goes to Anos, and tells him the Emperor Melis is here now and he wants to meet you. After that Misha takes him and they go to meet the Emperor, and as soon as Melis sees him his eyes shine and he cries, and tells him I have been waiting for you all this time. So Anos asks him do you remember me? So he replies unfortunately someone came and erased all my memories, all I remember is that you are the Demon King, and I also remember that you sacrificed your life to build the wall separating between the other races. At that time I was in the spirit forest and I had lost my memory, and while I was walking there I was surprised by that wall, and I spent 100 years to climb it, but when I crossed to the other side, I found that the Demon King name had changed and became Avos. So Anos asks him do you know what is the purpose of nominating me to this tournament? So he tells him surely the racist nobles are related to this matter, Because you are the hope of everyone fighting discrimination, so they want to kill you and destroy all the anti-discrimination fighters. I think the best solution is that you withdraw from the tournament, because you do not know what might happen. After that, Anos returns to his house, and finds Misha in the house, and tells him, I made the food for you today. So Anos tells his mother, I might not participate in the tournament, because I do not have a magical sword. So his mother replies to him, do not worry about that at all. On the next day, Anos goes on a trip with Misha, and they enter the magical models shop, and it is buildings and cities, but in a miniature model, and Misha goes to the workshop to make one herself, and she is able to make a model of Anos' family sitting at the dining table. So Anos tells her, I can make you a model that will never be repeated again, and Anos is able to make a model of the demon city with all its details. So when the shop owner sees it, she is amazed by its beauty, and asks him to take it at any price, but Anos refuses. After that, Anos and Misha go and sit on a bench, and while Misha is looking at the model amazed by its beauty, Anos uses magic and turns that model into a ring, and puts it in her hand, so Misha becomes happy and thanks him very much for this gift. And suddenly Misha notices a cat cafe in front of her, and her eyes shine because she really wants to go there. So Anos takes her and they go sit there, and suddenly a strange cat comes next to Anos, and tells him, I apologize for standing in front of you in this form. So Misha gets surprised that this cat is talking. So Anos tells her, this is Ivis, I made him investigate the matter of Melis. So Ivis tells him, I discovered that the leader of the anti-discrimination fighters is not Melis, but another person controlling everything from the shadows, but I still do not know anything about him, and it seems that no one from the anti-discrimination fighters knows who he is, and there is something else. I discovered that there is something strange happening in the magical hospital, but I still do not know what it is. So Anos tells him continue investigating Melis and the magical swords tournament. After that, Anos and Misha go to the hospital, but they meet Ray inside there, so they ask him, what are you doing here? So he replies, I am going to visit my mother because she is sick. So Anos tells him, I can heal her for you very easily, but Ray refuses and leaves immediately. So Misha says, I feel that Ray is very different this time. So Anos replies to her, I will make Ivis investigate him as well, because there is definitely something wrong. On the next day, the magical swords tournament begins, and Anos' mother goes with him to cheer for him. So he tells her, there was no need for you to come, I do not even have a magical sword. So his mother tells him, do not worry about that, and suddenly Ivis goes to Anos to give him the latest news. So they go out away from the crowd, and Anos asks him what is new. So Ivis tells him Melis has nothing to do with the tournament, but there are two other people planning to trap you in a trap they made. And as for Ray, I checked the hospital records, and found that his mother is in a critical condition and about to die, and she is infected with the spirit disease. So Anos gets very surprised, and tells him this disease did not exist 2,000 years ago. After a while, the first battle in the tournament begins, and it is between the first contestant, who is the brother of the teacher Amelia, and Anos, but suddenly Anos is late and does not enter the arena, because he does not have his sword, and people start talking about him and mocking him. But suddenly Anos' father goes to him, and gives him the magical sword, and tells him, I made this sword from steel, and indeed he enters the arena. So the teacher brother uses his secret technique and attacks him, but Anos swings his sword and blocks the attack, and rushes at him with fast strikes, and is able to destroy his sword and win the battle. So his mother and father become very happy, but the teacher becomes angry at Anos, and vows that she will kill him. After that, Anos goes to rest a little, and they hear that Ray from the royal organization won his match. So Misha gets shocked when she hears that, because he joined the racist organization that they are fighting, and they wait for him until he comes to talk with him, and as soon as he comes, Misha asks him, why did you join that organization? Did the nobles offer you something? So he replies to her, yes, a lot of money and also the title of Demon Prince. Now I am from the nobles, and I cannot be your friend anymore. And he tells Anos, before I leave, I wanted to tell you that I will kill you, and suddenly he swings his sword toward Anos to hit him, but Anos blocks the sword and grabs Ray's heart, but he lets him go in the end, and Ray takes himself and leaves. So Anos says there is something strange. Ray is wearing a necklace around his heart. I felt a magical tool in his body. After that, Anos goes to fight his last match before the final, and he indeed wins it, and thus he will face Ray in the final of the swords tournament. After that, Anos and Misha go to the hospital, specifically to Ray's mother. So Anos says this is the spirit disease. Her magic is decreasing and her existence is fading, and at this rate she will disappear from existence soon, but she looks like a half-spirit demon. So Misha looks at him with surprise and asks him, is not Ray supposed to have both parents from the nobles? so he replies to her maybe she is not his real mother. But suddenly Ray's mother wakes up from fainting, and tells him, "Are you not Anos? I was conscious all the time, and Ray was talking about you all the time." So Anos asks her, "Do you know anything about the magic in his body?" So she replies to him, "Yes, he is supposed to obey the nobles to heal me, and Ray loves sword fighting very much, and he was always swinging his sword. But when my illness got worse, he started to feel lonely, and one time he came to me and he was happy, and told me that he lost to you, and I was very surprised that he was happy about his loss. Please free Ray from what he is in." So Anos tells her, "But like this he will not be able to save you." So she replies to him, "I do not want to live if I will stand in the way of my son." So Misha feels very sad for her, and tells her there must be a solution to heal her, and she thinks for a while and tells him, "Since she is half spirit like me, what do you think about linking my energy with her energy?" So Anos activates one of his spells, and tells her, "Be careful because in the worst case both of you might disappear." But Ray's mother objects to them, and tells them you must not do something dangerous like this. So Misha tells her Ray was always helping us, and Anos starts activating his spell, and takes from Misha energy and gives it to Ray's mother. On the other side, Anos' mother and some of his friends are going home to protect the sword, but suddenly the teacher Amelia appears, and tells them the rules state that I should go to the contestants before the final to check their weapons, and the teacher tries to take the sword by force, and threatens Anos' mother that if she does not hand the sword now she will torture her. But Anos' mother resists with all her strength, so the teacher uses her magic and throws it at her. So Anos' mother falls to the ground, and unfortunately her leg gets broken, and Anos' mother tells her, "How can you do this to your students?" So she replies, "They are just hybrids. I will never forgive Anos for insulting my family," and the teacher gets angry and throws her magic at her. But suddenly the girls stand up from the ground and block her attacks, and ask Anos' mother to run to the house immediately. So Anos' mother stands up and walks while she cannot move well, but unfortunately the teacher power is stronger than all of them, and she is able to cause them serious injuries. But still the girls do not surrender, and try to stand up from the ground and face her, so the teacher looks at them and gets very angry, and burns them one after another, and says, "This is the fate of every hybrid like you," and uses her magic and attacks Anos' mother. But suddenly Anos appears and stops her attack, and goes to his mother and heals her, and also heals all the girls. And Anos thanks them very much because they defended his mother with their lives, and then goes to the teacher, and tells her, "I never expected that anger would control me, I will never forgive you," and grabs her tightly from her neck and uses teleportation magic, and they go to the arena, and he takes out his sword and stabs her, and tells her, "I inflicted a fatal wound on you, you have exactly 1 minute, and you will die. What do you think about admitting that I am the Demon King? Then I will think about healing you." So she tells him, "You are indeed the Demon King, have mercy on me please." So Anos hits her with the sword and uses one of his spells, and returns her body as it was, but this time in a different way, and tells her, "I changed your body, and now you have become a hybrid like me." So the teacher gets shocked and cannot believe herself, and takes the sword from him to kill herself. So Anos tells her, "You will not be able to, because I used a spell that heals you automatically if you try to kill yourself." And after that Anos leaves her and walks away. On the other side Ray comes from behind Misha, and puts the knife on her neck, and tells her, "What are you doing?" So Misha replies to him, "I could not believe that you would join the nobles." So he tells her, "You trust me too much, anyway you must rest now, because you consumed a lot of your energy." And Ray thanks her for her help, but suddenly Misha loses control and falls to the ground unconscious, so Ray carries her and puts her on the couch. So his mother calls him, so Ray goes to her while he is happy and promises her that he will win tomorrow. So she tells him, "Do not worry, I knew everything, I met you by coincidence, and that was the best thing that happened in my life." And we go back to the past. At that time Ray is walking in the street when he was young, after his family kicked him out of the house, so his mother met him by coincidence in the street, and took him and raised him. On the next day the final between Ray and Anos begins, and as soon as both of them enter the arena, new rules are announced, and suddenly bracelets are placed on the hands of Anos and Ray. So the announcer, who looks like an owl, tells Anos, "If the bracelet on your hand breaks you will lose. I adjusted your bracelet to amplify the spirit disease of Ray's mother, and kill her if you defeat Ray, and it will stop absorbing your magical power, and also the magical sword inside Ray will destroy him." And the battle begins and Ray rushes at Anos, but Anos blocks his strikes while standing in his place, because he does not want to defeat Ray, and also his magical power is being drained. So Ray tells him, "I cannot believe you can fight while your power is being absorbed. The nobles advise me to waste time, because the battle will tilt in my favor as time passes, but I did not want to fight you like this, and suddenly Ray wounds his own heart with the knife, and he tells him this way I will die soon, and I will not be able to heal my mother anymore. You have no reason now to hold back against me, and Ray rushes at him, and the real battle between them begins, and Ray is able to hit Anos in his shoulder, but in return Anos hits him in his stomach, and they both run at each other for the last time, and Ray is able to cut Anos' hand, but in return Anos stabs his sword into his heart, and breaks Ray's sword and wins the battle. But suddenly a spell activates under them, and they are both transported to another world. So Anos says, so the one who planted the magical sword inside Ray, and the one who nominated me for the tournament was you in the end. So Melhise appears and tells him yes, finally I can get rid of you after a long wait. So Anos tells him, do you think that by trapping me in another dimension you will win? So he replies, I already won from the beginning. The bracelet on your hand left you with almost half of your magical power, and your hand will not heal easily, and Ray is already dead and will not be able to help you. And suddenly Melis summons 2 of the 7 demons, whom Anos and Ray defeated before, and Melis tells him you are facing 3 of the 7 demons, you have no chance against us. But suddenly Anos explodes the 2 demons that Melis summoned and fixes them in place, and Ray appears and tells him we will face you everywhere. So Melis asks him, is not your essence destroyed, and you actually died? And he looks at the magical sword and finds it destroyed. So Ray tells him that as thanks to Anos' last strike, he was able to destroy it completely, all I did was trust him. So Melis tells them I am the one who is winning here anyway, and shows them another dimension where Ray's mother is chained, and tells Ray I will offer you a deal, if you give your loyalty to the nobles I will heal her, and if you do not I will destroy her. So Anos tells him go ahead kill her if you want. We prepared ourselves from the beginning, and Ray throws the sword at him, and jumps quickly to the other dimension before Melis closes it. So Melhise says I planned for this, and placed many traps, and summons the material that the separating wall was made from, and says this is the wall that you created, it can destroy anything in front of it. And Melis says I took a part of it and preserved it in another dimension, in addition it draws its power from the bracelet, that absorbs your magic. So Anos tries to attack him with his severed hand, but Melis avoids it. So Melis takes himself and goes to another dimension, and tells him I am in a place where no one can be except the owner of the spell, you will not be able to win in any way. And Melis opens a hole in the dimension where Ray and his mother are, and throws at them the material that made the wall. But Anos is able to protect them with a barrier he created, and warns them that if they touch that wall it will destroy them completely, and creates for Ray a magical sword, and puts some of his power into it. So Ray tries to destroy the wall around him, but suddenly the sword in his hand breaks. So Anos quickly makes a barrier for himself, but it consumes a huge magical power. So Melhise tells him it seems you reached your limits, you both will die together. So Ray apologizes to Anos, but suddenly his mother calls him, and tells him I will give you my power so you can fight with it. So Ray asks her not to do that, but his mother tells him you are the most important thing to me, you are my son that I am proud of. So Ray stands up and takes the sword from the ground, and attacks the wall around him, and rushes again, and is able to destroy the wall completely, and also goes to the dimension where Melhise is, and makes a mark on his face. So his mother appears in front of him and says goodbye to him, and then disappears. So Ray falls to the ground and cries. So Melis tells him I have a lot of the material that made the wall, meaning your mother's death was in vain. But suddenly Anos appears behind him, but quickly Melis traps him in a sphere of the wall and explodes it, and thinks that he killed Anos. But suddenly Anos appears again, so Melis gets very shocked, and tries to explode him again, but he fails. So Anos summons his legendary sword, and swings it at him. So Melis makes a wall quickly and runs to escape from him, but suddenly his 2 legs get cut, and he says I am sure I dodged that strike. So Anos replies my destruction sword breaks all laws, and Anos approaches him and stabs the sword into him, and is able to destroy the essence that was controlling him, and suddenly they return to the real dimension. So Melis apologizes to him, and tells him on the day I met you, after you left, a mysterious being attacked me and controlled me since that time. So Anos summons the 2 demons that he destroyed, and extracts from them the essence that was controlling them and destroys it. Then it is announced that Anos won against Ray, after returning to the other dimension, and Anos goes to Ray who is injured on the ground and heals him. And when Ray wakes up and realizes that everything ended, he cries for his mother who died. So Anos tells him there is no need to be sad now because your mother is fine. And suddenly Anos summons Ray's mother, so Ray looks at her while he is shocked and hugs her tightly, and tells her I thought I would not see you again. So Anos tells him I was able to heal your mother from the first day already, but I did all this to save Melis. And we go back to the past 2000 years ago, during the war between humans and demons. So Anos goes to the human leader at that time, the hero Kanan, and tells him, I did not come to fight you, I came to offer you a peace treaty. But suddenly one of the commanders attacks him. He is the commander Jirga, and tries to hit him, but Anos makes a barrier and stops him. So he tells Kanan peace will not come to us unless we kill him completely. And he draws his power from the hatred of humans toward the demon king, and says, I must avenge my wife and children who died by demons, and he is able to break Anos' barrier. But suddenly Anos attacks him quickly in his stomach, and says, you also killed my mother, and directs his words to Kanan, if you want to spread peace, come to my castle. So Kanan quickly goes to the commander Jirga to check on him. So he tells him, I am fine, do not worry about me. We cannot make a peace treaty with them. We must destroy them all. And after Kanan leaves, he says, I will not forgive you, Demon King. I will destroy the demon race no matter the cost. On the next day, a new teacher comes to the class instead of Amelia, and she is the teacher Menno, and tells them in 1 month there will be a joint training between the Demon Academy and the Human Hero Academy, and that means we will go to the Human Kingdom, and since you do not know what a hero means, I will explain a little. Heroes are brave warriors who led humans in their battles against demons. After the class ends, Sasha goes to Anos, and tells him, we have free time, what do you think we use it in something? So Anos looks and tells them, come with me. After that, Anos takes them and goes to the forest to train them. So Ray takes a sword from Misha and rushes at Anos, and Misha makes him ice steps so he can reach him. But Anos is able to block his strike and hits him hard in his stomach, and tells him, you must know how to fight after you lose your sword, and directs his words to Misha, and you also must strengthen your creation. And suddenly Misha uses spirit magic, but Anos is able to detect it and block her, and says, the hero I knew was very strong. I do not know if he was reincarnated in this world or not, but our opponents in the academy will surely have the same fighting spirit. At sunset, Anos goes and meets Meles, so Meles tells him, you must be very careful during this joint training. I have been suspicious of this matter for a while. So Anos asks him, why was the academy established? So he replies, it seems they are preparing students to be like the hero Kanan. They only choose students who were reincarnated again. There must be a reason behind this. After that, Anos takes Ray and they go to his castle. So Ray can choose from the swords present after his sword was broken, and his eyes fall on a certain sword and he decides to choose it. So Anos tells him, this sword is difficult to control. You need to be able to cut things with it. After a while, a new trip is announced, and it will be a 10-day trip to the human city, and whoever fails to reach there within that time will be excluded from participation. So Sasha sits with the others to see how they will go there, but Anos activates teleportation magic, and they go there in an instant, and Misha and Ray go to explore the city, and Sasha goes with Anos to check something. After that, Anos and Sasha go to the Hero Academy, so Sasha tells him, are you sure you will enter it now? So he replies, I want to explore it right now. So Anos opens the door and is about to enter, but suddenly one of the students comes from behind him, and her name is Bianca, and asks them, what are you doing here? So Anos tells her, I admire your hero, and want to know more about him. So Bianca tells him, come, I will show you more about our academy. After that, Bianca takes them to the library, and tells them, if you want to know more about the hero, I suggest you read this book, and it talks about the legend of the hero Kanan who defeated the Demon King. So Sasha objects to her words, and tells her the Demon King was not defeated by anyone, he sacrificed his life to end the war. But Anos quickly calms Sasha, and asks Bianca, what is the name of the Demon King? So she replies, Avos. So Anos realizes that someone manipulated the truth here as well, and Anos asks her about the class that has only the reincarnated students. So she replies, yes, that class has all the heroes across ages. The hero Kanan alone has 4 personalities. So Anos tells her, what do they say about the history of the heroes? They must have memories about the past. But suddenly the first Kanan appears behind him, and tells him, honestly, I cannot believe that the Demon King made a wall to stop the war, while he was the one who caused it in the first place. You just refuse the truth of your defeat against the hero Kanan. And suddenly the third Kanan appears, so Anos starts provoking them and insulting them. So the third Kanan gets angry and rushes at him, and tries to hit him with his magic. But Anos is able to block his attack and throws him away. So the third Kanan gets angrier, and is about to hit him again, but the first Kanan calls him and tells him enough, and apologizes to Anos for what happened, and after that Anos leaves. And before he leaves the academy, he says goodbye to Bianca first. So Bianca tells him the Kanan you are looking for is not here, he was killed 2,000 years ago. So Anos asks her who killed him. So Bianca replies, after staying silent for a while, humans. After a while, the students are able to arrive on time, and then they go to a large hall, where there are demon students and human students, so the head of the Hero Academy tells them all you have to do is destroy the small models that I will make now, using your magic, and the head chooses the first canon to represent the humans, while the teacher chooses one of the nobles to represent their class, and the first canon starts transforming the destruction sword into a powerful sword, and is able to destroy the model that his teacher made, and then it is the turn of the student representing the demons, and he tries to use his magic to kill the mouse inside the cage, but suddenly his spell breaks, so the student tries once and twice but he fails, so the teacher and the first canon start mocking, so Anos stands from his place, and tells them you activated a spell that blocks demon magic, and Anos goes to them, and is able to break their spell, and turns the mouse into a giant beast, and then explodes it. So the first canon tells him you really look like the reincarnation of the demon king, but one of the demon students stands and objects to him, and tells him it is impossible for a hybrid like him to be the demon king. So the third canon stands from his place, and tells them if there is anyone stronger than Anos let him show himself now. So a fight starts between the students, and the noble student who represented the class looks at Anos, while he is very angry. At night Anos is sitting alone, and meets Ivis to tell him the latest news, and he tells him I searched in the history of this city, and did not find anything about a human killing the hero canon, but I found a strange phrase spread among the academy students, which is that one day darkness will return to the city again, but the hero canon will reincarnate again, and will bring back the light to the city with his sword. I think the purpose of this phrase is to kill you again if you reincarnate again. But suddenly Misha and Sasha knock on the door, so Ivis leaves quickly and Anos goes to open the door, and they ask him if he is free so they can go out together. On the next day the demon team and the human team prepare for a new battle, but Anos notices that Bianca is not there, so the academy head explains the rules, and chooses his students from their special class, and directs his words to the teacher, and tells her I hope you choose Anos, because it will be very difficult for your other students. So the noble student, who is ranked the highest in the class, goes to the teacher, and tells her the honor of our academy is tied to this battle. We cannot let a hybrid like him enter a fight like this, so Anos tells him as you like, but make sure you discover the enemy plan first. After a while the battle between the two teams begins, and the demon team builds their castle, and makes a barrier on it, and the noble student sends two of the team to scout the enemy, so they both say that they cannot detect any magic from the enemy, so the student sends 3 students to the enemy area to attack them. But as soon as they go they are surprised by the heroes attacking them, so one of them tries to use his magic, but he completely fails, so the third canon tells them we weakened your magical power, and they decide that they will go attack the demon castle. So the teacher says there is something wrong, those students must have done something, so Anos gives her his eye ability, so she can see the matter herself, so she admits that they used spells that stop demon magic and in return enhance their attack power, and the teacher says but this violates the rules. At the same time 3 heroes attack the castle, so the student orders the rest of the team to activate their strongest spell, but suddenly the 3 of them use barriers and block their attacks, and unite together in a triangle shape, and absorb their magical energy, and are able to destroy the castle, and summon their magical swords, and kill them one by one. So the teacher goes to the academy head, and tells him stop your students immediately, if anything happens to them the academy will be responsible, I will go file a strict complaint against you, and the teacher runs to go make a complaint, but Anos grabs her and tells her wait a moment, and uses his spell and pulls the students out of the water, and they are severely injured. So the teacher goes to them and heals them, so the head approaches her, and tells her it seems he was injured by the hero sword. No healing magic will work on him, so the teacher shouts at him and tells him why did you use dangerous tools like this? So he replies we did not know that demon students are this weak, so Anos goes to them to heal him, but the noble student refuses treatment from him. So Anos tells him if anything happens to you the teacher will bear your responsibility. So the student tells him I hate you with all my heart, but today I thought and said if I had your power I would have won, please attack them and take our revenge. After that Anos takes his team, and they go to the opposing team, and Anos tells them you used a spell that violates the rules in the water. So the first canon tells him we only took advantage of the battlefield, if you want you can destroy all the water. So Anos executes his words and goes to the lake, and uses one of his very powerful spells on it, and is able to evaporate all the water. So the teacher looks at the lake while he is shocked, and says I will cancel the exam now. But the human team decides that they will enter the second battle, and the 2 teams stand in front of each other, and prepare for the duel. As soon as it begins, the humans use a powerful spell and draw their power from the hatred of humans toward demons, so Anos creates a massive fire sphere and throws it at them. But suddenly the humans form a giant barrier and stop the sphere, and the fourth Kanon jumps onto it and cuts it with her sword and completely destroys it. So Sasha asks him what is that barrier, so he replies it is a barrier that weakens demon power and strengthens human power. We cannot do anything unless we destroy it. So Misha says if we can build the Demon King castle inside that barrier, we will be able to destroy it completely. I will need only 3 minutes to build it. So Anos uses teleportation magic and they both go inside the barrier. So Misha starts building 3 castles at once, but suddenly the 4 cannons appear together and say we will not let you build those things here, and they unite and bind Anos with magic, so Anos releases a huge amount of energy and throws it at them, and is able to explode them, and says it seems they are not the ones who made that barrier, and immediately Misha tells Anos that she managed to build the castle. At the same time the third Kanon stands up from the ground, and vows that he will destroy Anos, so Sasha goes to him and tells him Anos will not waste his time fighting someone worthless like you. I am the destruction witch, and I will make you taste my torment. So the third Kanon rushes at her and chases her and tries to hit her, but Sasha avoids his attacks and is able to steal the tool he uses for magic, so the third Kanon gets angry and rushes at her and hits her, and is able to take the tool back from her, and uses paralysis magic to stop Sasha in her place, and gathers his power and rushes at her to kill her. But suddenly the third Kanon is affected strongly and falls to the ground bleeding. So Sasha tells him, did you think I would return your magic tool as it is? I use poison magic on you. And Sasha uses her eyes of destruction on him, and is able to win the battle. On the other side Ray stands in front of the first Kanon to fight, and Kanon uses a strange magic and traps him in it, and summons his sword to kill him. But suddenly Ray is able to move, and cuts the first Kanon arm. So Kanon looks at him not believing what happened. This sword in my hand is a bit different, it is not affected by magic. And Ray goes to the hero sword of Kaon and takes it from the ground. So the first Kanon laughs, and tells him it is impossible for a demon to hold that sword. But Ray is able to take it and hits him hard into the ground, and also steals his other sword. And Ray approaches him and tells him if we were not in a friendly match I would have killed you completely, and strikes him with the sword and wins the battle. At the same time Anos goes to the second and fourth Kanon, and while he is standing the fourth Kanon jumps and tries to hit him, but Anos makes a barrier and blocks her strike, and she rushes at him again and again trying to hit him but it is useless, so Anos grabs her sword and throws her to the ground, and then throws her at the second Kanon and throws them away. So they use the emotion spell, and are able to take power from all humans, so Anos tells him I have not seen this spell for 2,000 years, so the second Kanon replies on the contrary the number of humans increased and this spell became stronger than before, and they both rush at him and try to hit him, but Anos blocks and avoids all their attacks. So Anos tells them I can use your spell, and calls his friends and asks them to cheer for him. And as soon as they start cheering Anos draws power from them, so the first and fourth Kanon rush at him, but Anos makes a barrier and throws them away. So the second Kanon gets angry and throws magical energy at him, but Anos blocks it with magic and is able to throw him away. And suddenly everyone in the battle hears a voice in their ears saying kill the Demon King. And suddenly all demon students turn into hatred toward the Demon King, but they quickly return to their senses again, so the second Kanon tells him you will die right now. So the fourth Kanon rushes at him and stabs her sword into her essence and explodes herself while being near him, and a very huge explosion happens, to the point that the second Kanon thinks that he has defeated Anos. But suddenly Anos appears unharmed, so the fourth Kanon goes again and tries once more. So Anos gets surprised because she exploded herself once and should have died, and she keeps repeating the same explosion again and again, until Anos gets bored and grabs her heart himself, and hears Bianca asking for his help, and tells him come to the grave. No one but me can stop the fourth Kanon. So Anos asks Misha to go there instead of him because he is fighting now, so she runs quickly there to see what is happening, but suddenly the academy head comes from behind her, and traps her in a magical sphere, and asks her what are you doing here, and tells her I will make you pay for the humans that you killed. So Misha tells him I am not guilty, this was a war 2,000 years ago. So the head opens a gate from which the hero light comes out that burns any demon, so Misha gets severely hurt and bleeds, and suddenly the head comes from behind her and stabs her with the sword, and keeps stabbing her multiple times, and tells her we will never forget even after 2,000 years, I wish to kill you and those like you, and before he lands the final blow to kill her, suddenly Anos comes from behind him, and hits him with the material that made the wall, and throws him, and Anos makes a barrier around Misha to heal her, and then goes to the head and tortures him heavily, and returns his body as it was, and grabs him tightly from his mouth and asks him what is the purpose of this academy, why is there so much hatred in the students toward demons, and what is that voice we heard? So the head transforms himself into a monster, and calls his students, and orders them to attack the demons, and uses one of his spells to create a huge explosion to kill them all, but he fails, so Anos tells him I stopped time, and inserts his hand into him and grabs his essence, and tells him no human can endure the pain of damaging the essence, only the hero Kanan with his 7 essences, no matter how much you destroy them he can bring them back, and Anos presses hard on the essence and kills him. After that Anos enters a strange room, and Bianca is inside it, and he gets shocked when he sees her, and asks her who are you, so she replies I am human magic, I was created by a forbidden spell, so Anos tells her indeed when a huge explosion happened the barrier was not destroyed, and also they healed by themselves, so Bianca tells him before we talk about anything we must stop the essence destruction spell that the academy head cast, if you can get me out of here I will be able to stop it. So Anos uses his destructive eye, and destroys the barrier that Bianca is in, so Bianca thanks him and starts stopping all the spells. So she tells him I will tell you everything about our academy, we cloned humans, and everything you see are copies of the essence that I created. That is why no matter if they are destroyed or die someone replaces them again. I know this is something terrifying, but 2000 years ago the one who did this was a human, and he is the Commander Jurga. All he cared about was that people never forget the hatred of demons, even after the war ended, and because of that he founded the Magic Academy, and created 2 new spells including the spell that washes human minds, so that even demons hate the Demon King, but the Commander Kanan opposed these 2 spells, and Bianca shows him a memory where he opposes Jurga, and tells him the Demon King sacrificed his life for peace, so the commander at that time orders one of the soldiers to kill Kanan, and says the war will not end unless we destroy every demon. So Anos tells her so you are the second spell that Jurga created, so she replies yes, but I failed in the end, all the hatred went to the first spell, and I was left with some memories from Jurga. That is why I was hoping someone like you would appear. I ask you to kill me. For 2000 years I have been killing my children continuously. I think this is the only solution so they forgive me. Suddenly one of the cloned humans calls Anos, and asks him to save their mother Bianca, so Bianca falls to the ground and cries, so Anos promises her that he will fulfill her wish. And while they are standing suddenly the academy head enters and tells him what are you doing with Bianca. So Anos asks Bianca is the head essence also cloned, so she replies yes he is responsible for spreading the hatred spell, he can regenerate and come back again as long as I am near him. Suddenly a huge explosion happens, and the fake demon King Avos storms the place with 3 of the 7 demons, so Avos goes to the hero sword of Kanan and pulls it. So the head gets shocked because a demon cannot hold the hero sword like that, and Avos kills everyone there and leaves. But Anos stops him and tells him who are you, so he replies I am Avos the Demon King who will destroy everything in front of him. So Anos throws a massive fire sphere at him, but Avos cuts it with the hero sword, and tells him I will destroy everything that stands before me. After several days, the academy head appears in front of all humans, and tells them we have returned to darkness again. Demons attacked us and destroyed part of our academy, and stole the hero sword of Kaan. The Demon King has returned to life again after 2000 years. Prepare because we will face them with all our power. On the other side in the demon city, the King Avos appears in front of all demons, and tells them I made a mistake in the past, when I divided the world into 4 parts for peace, and showed humans some mercy, but they did not change at all, and because of that we will gather our power, and go annihilate all humans. At the same time Anos meets with the demons that he managed to free, so they tell him all demon leaders gathered around Avos, and they are now heading to the barrier, and the human army is preparing to attack as well. We will fight with you with all our power, and suddenly Sasha and Misha, and the rest of his friends come from behind him, and tell him we will stay by your side and fight with you. So Anos thanks them and orders them to prepare for the great battle. On the next day Anos gathers them, and explains to them the plan they must follow, and orders Sasha and Misha to weaken the demon forces, so they both go to the forces and prepare to fight them, and he orders the rest of his friends to support the rear of their army, and tells Ray and Misa to separate the remaining demon forces without killing them before they cross the barrier, and he orders Melis and Ivis to stop the rest of the 7 demons with Avos, and he will go to the castle to face Avos himself, and Anos throws magic at the soldiers to scatter them, and jumps at them and shakes the ground beneath them. After that Anos reaches the castle where the Demon King is, but suddenly Misa calls him and tells him Ray disappeared, and she does not know where he went, and Anos realizes that Avos was manipulating them, and he is not in the castle at all. At the same time Avos is walking alone in the forest, but suddenly Anos appears and creates a barrier around them, and tells him I knew you would be here, so Avos summons the hero sword of Kanan to face Anos, and they rush at each other and a very strong clash happens. But Anos steps back, and tells him it has been 2,000 years since the last time I saw you, right? So Avos removes his mask, and it turns out that Ray is the one wearing it, and the surprise is that Ray is actually the hero Kanan. So Kanan asks him, how did you recognize me? So he replies, because when we were facing the students in the academy, you were able to steal the hero swords from them, and no demon can do that. Besides that you have only one essence now, and you merged the other 6 with the 7 demons, except Melai's you only controlled him, and thus you have 7 essences like the hero Kanan exactly. There is no reason now to hide your identity. It was not in your plan that I discover that you are Avos, right? What happened after I died? So he replies to him, I was killed by the followers of Jirga, and after that they made a plan to completely kill you after 2,000 years, so I had to fix the situation, and I decided that I would disguise myself as the Demon King, and changed history so your name becomes Avos, and thus I will be the Demon King that people believe in, and honestly I did not expect that you would notice all this, and after that I will make humans kill me, and thus the curse of the hatred spell will be removed. I will be the one who sacrifices myself this time so peace remains. So Anos tells him I will not let you do all this alone. So Kanan replies then I will use force with you, and Kanan rushes at him and tries to strike him with the sword, but Anos avoids it and jumps up, and uses one of his spells on him, but Kanan stands again and tries to hit him, but Anos hits him hard in his stomach and makes him bleed, and uses several spells on him, and is able to inflict severe injuries. But Kanan does not surrender in the end, and tells him I will never surrender before you, and summons another sword for himself, and rushes at Anos and clashes with him. So Anos throws a fire sphere at him, but Kanan gathers all his power and is able to destroy the sphere, and attacks Anos with all his power and stabs the sword into his essence. Quickly Anos returns his body to its original form, and takes the Demon King clothes, and gives Kanan his hero clothes, and as soon as the barrier disappears, everyone sees the hero Kanan stabbing the sword into the heart of the Demon King. So Kanan asks him why did you do that? So he replies I did what you were going to do, and calls the soldiers and tells them everyone retreat with your forces, and no one is allowed to take revenge on humans until I return again. And after that Kanan removes the sword from his heart, so Anos dies and disappears, and Kanan cries heavily because of his sadness for him. After that he calls the humans and says the Demon King is dead, everyone return to your lives, but the academy head shouts at the soldiers and tells them stay where you are. Do not be deceived by these words. This is definitely not the hero Kanan. I order you to kill the demons now, and calls Bianca army and orders them to blow themselves up. But suddenly Bianca appears and stops him, and tells him everything is over. There is no reason for us to fight again. So the head looks at her and gets very angry and releases a massive aura, and tells her I will kill every demon in this world. And suddenly the hatred spell activates, and the commander Jirga appears before everyone, and he tells Kanan I feel ashamed of you because you reincarnated yourself as an evil demon. So he tells him, and you also turn from a human into someone who only wants to destroy the world, and rushes at Jirga and tries to hit him, but it does not affect him. So he tells him you cannot affect me that easily. So Sasha and Misha go toward him, and tell him we will avenge the death of Anos, and Ivis uses the Necron secret spell, and merges the 2 sisters together and makes them one very powerful body. So Jirga throws his magic at them, but they are able to block the attacks using the destruction eyes. So Jirga uses the spell that will make Bianca army explode and destroy the demons, but quickly the sisters grab the spell before it activates, and Kanan goes and tries to put them inside a barrier, but the sisters cannot stop the spell for long, so Jirga gathers power and activates the spell and orders them to explode. But the spell stops at the last moment in a very strange way, and suddenly Anos appears again, so everyone gets shocked, and they ask Jirga how did you return again? So he replies I was able to restore my essence again before it was completely destroyed. So Anos tells him that is very good. Finally I got the chance to destroy you with my own hands, and Jirga uses the hatred spell, and gathers the emotions of all humans and turns them into power. Then he appears in the form of a knight holding a legendary sword, and strikes Anos to kill him, but Kanan blocks the strike with his sword, and they unite together to defeat him. So Jirga gets angry and swings his sword at them, and is able to throw Anos away, and tells him you will never be able to defeat me while I have this power. I have already won the battle, and I will kill the demons. So Anos calls his friends to sing for him, and takes their emotions and turns them into power. Quickly Bianca goes to him and throws magical daggers at him, and the demon and human soldiers help her as well to stop Jirga, but he dodges them and tries to hit Anos with his sword. But suddenly he becomes paralyzed, so Anos tells him, did you see humans cooperating with demons to defeat you? They now want to live in peace. Then Kanon comes from afar and splits Jirga into two halves, and Anos summons his sword and stands behind the hero Kanon, and they wait for Jirga to rise again from the ground, and they both attack him together and stab their swords into his head, and they are able to kill him together.